One of the
Muhammad
ones.
Ali is without a doubt the greatest boxer of all time. There have been better punchers, boxers with better records or more victories, but nobody had what Ali brought to the table. He was a phenomenal champion, the greatest entertainer, and the leading activist for human rights amongst all athletes. Here's the life story of one Muhammad Ali and our take on his greatness. His boxing, his great service to humanity, his famous trash talk, but also his stepping out of line and stubbornness that kept him in the ring for too long.
Hey man, shout out to Muhammad Ali, man.
And boxing beginnings.
One of the ones, the GOAT.
Born in Kentucky in 1942, Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. grew up in the American South in a time of severe racial segregation. His father, Cassius Clay Sr., supported a wife and 2 sons by painting billboards, while his mother worked as a household domestic. Growing up poor and racially oppressed, young Cassius quickly learned he'd have to fight for everything in life. When his bike was stolen at the age of 12, he told a police officer, Joe Martin, that he wanted to beat up the thief. As a twist of fate would have it, Joe Martin was also a boxing trainer at the local gym.
Yo, I never knew that. So, that's crazy. So it was the...
And he invited the young man to come train there and learn how to fight before he started beating up people on the street. From that moment on, everything would change in the life of Cassius Clay. He just didn't know it yet. He won his first amateur fight at the age of 14, and 2 years later, he won a novice Golden Gloves tournament at light heavyweight. At the age of 19, Clay was the winner of the National Golden Gloves Tournament of Champions.
Why I thought he started doing the shuffle when he got like older, or like when he started being great. He been doing that since he was young. I ain't know that.
Heavyweight. At the age of 19, Clay was the winner of the National Golden Gloves Tournament of Champions and the winner of AAU national title for the light heavyweight division. As the best amateur in the country, Clay was selected to represent the USA in 1960 Rome Olympics, which he almost refused due to his fear of flying. Standing at 6'3", fast and athletic, Clay was dominant in the Olympic tournament, and he deservedly won the gold medal after beating the Polish Zbigniew Pietrzakowski in the final. Return home and start of a professional career. Now an Olympic champion, Cassius Clay returned home and proudly wore his medal around Kentucky. He went on to eat downtown, but couldn't get served in a restaurant. "We don't serve Negroes," the waiter said. "I don't eat Negroes too. Just bring me a hamburger," a quick-witted boxer replied. Disgusted and disappointed, he thought something was deeply wrong in the country, where his dad fought in wars, and he won the Olympic gold, but still wasn't treated as equal. Cassius turned pro after 105 amateur fights, winning exactly 100 of them. He signed a deal with Louisville Sponsoring Group, and his first contract was $400 a month, plus 50% of the gate. Clay then made another...
How much was... Y'all gotta let me know in the comments. How much was that back then? $400 a month. Let me know what was the... Like, yeah, we gotta figure out some numbers in the comments, because that sounded crazy.
Career-altering move, and called the 5th Street Gym in Miami, where Angelo Dundee was the head coach. He moved to Florida and immediately began training with Dundee, who would be in his corner for all but 2 career fights. Cassius was still a teenager, with an unpolished skill set and not all the way physically developed as a heavyweight, weighing less than 190 pounds. Still, his speed proved to be too much for all his opponents, and he fought more like a middleweight than a proper heavyweight. But neither his agility nor an Olympic gold medal was his most prominent feature. Clay got known for his trash talk, which he picked up from the professional wrestler Gorgeous George Wagner, whom he met in 1961 at the beginning of his boxing career. Clay realized that trash talking made a difference in the number of sold tickets, and because it aligned with his confident and humorous nature...
so he got it from... Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't even know who a Gorgeous George Rourke... I didn't know who that was.
Cassius adopted the tactic and soon began slandering and belittling every opponent. After he knocked out the European heavyweight champion Henry Cooper at the Wembley Stadium in England, there was only one man left to beat, a heavyweight champion of the world, Sonny Liston, becoming the champ. Sonny Liston was truly a lesson in what the physical advantages mean in boxing. Although only 6 foot and 1 inch tall,
look at his body. He's like a tank.
He had an incredible 84-inch reach and massive fists. Liston had an amazing jab and could knock out a fighter with either hand. He was also strong as a bull, and with the record of 35-1 coming into the fight with Clay, he was considered an 8-1 favorite. Clay had just started coming into his own as a popular figure, and Liston was his first major target. Sayings like, "If you like to lose your money, be a fool and bet on Sonny," endeared him to many, but his trash talk wasn't universally accepted, and some people viewed him as a disrespectful jokester. Clay's offensive began during Liston's preparations for the match with Floyd Patterson. Clay appeared at his practices, public appearances, and annoyed the hell out of the guy. He called him an ugly bear and pointed out that a champion should be beautiful, like him. His propaganda was amusing as it was something never seen before, but many thought his antics were just an empty threat and figured Clay would only last a couple of rounds, just like all the others. However, trash-talking worked like a charm, and when the bell finally sounded off and the fight started, Sonny Liston attacked Cassius Clay as if he was trying to decapitate him. Liston missed shot after shot, wasting a lot of energy. And it was something similar to the first round of Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou, if you're a UFC fan. Liston was a big bear who came out to tear limbs with his paws, like in The Revenant. But unfortunately for him, he was in the ring with a ballet dancer. Big-bodied Liston didn't have the speed to catch Clay, who hit his opponent with quick combinations with his usual risky style, and somehow managed to avoid anything thrown at him. Cassius Clay was at the height of the first phase of his career, in which he masterfully used his speed and agility. Liston looked more frustrated than ever, and Clay was winning every round. However, things started to turn around when Clay temporarily lost his sight during the fourth round, and even wanted to give up and asked his coach to untie his gloves. Dundee tried to wash Clay's eyes and motivate him, and when the gong marked the start of the fifth round, Dundee had to literally push Clay to the center of the ring. Liston saw that and went for all or nothing. Due to poor diet, alcohol, and lack of training, he had only a few minutes of strength left to bring down the annoying challenger. However, Clay remained standing, and whatever it was in his eyes evaporated during the fifth round, and he returned in the sixth, reborn, and ready to win. The 22-year-old challenger dominated Liston in the 22 sixth, after which the champ collapsed in his chair, spat out his mouthguard, and said that he was done. The fight was over, and boxing had a new heavyweight champion.
Hold on, he said he was done. Hold on, he just hold on. He quit in the middle of the fight, or he something? What? Hold on, I gotta know what happened. Somebody gotta let me know in the comments what happened. Bro, what? That boy Muhammad Ali was 22?
So bad, I'm so pretty, I shook up the world. Clay shouted into the microphone in what would be his last fight under his birth name, becoming Ali, celebrity status, and Vietnam protest. 2 days after becoming the heavyweight champ,
he said, if I want to die,
shocked the boxing world again.
I'll die right here fighting you. If I want to die.
By announcing that he had accepted the teachings of the Nation of Islam. 2 weeks later, he took the name Muhammad Ali, which was given to him by his spiritual mentor, Elijah Muhammad. Even though he changed the name, nothing changed in the ring. For the next 3 years, Ali completely dominated heavyweight boxing, just like Marciano and Joe Louis did before him. In a rematch against Liston, he triumphed after the phantom knockout in first round, in one of the most controversial fights of all time, since many believed Liston threw the fight. After that, Ali defended his title 8 more times and was never in danger of getting beat.
Why they say he threw the fight though? Why would they say he threw the fight?
He was in his physical prime and a class above everybody else. He was indeed flying like a butterfly and stinging like a bee. And nobody was able to stop the famous Ali shuffle. Nobody in the ring, at least. In 1967, citing his religious beliefs, Ali refused induction into the U.S. Army at the height of the war in Vietnam. Unlike most athletes who wouldn't dare speak up against the government, Ali was intelligent and brave enough to fight for his beliefs and not back down. I don't want to quarrel with no Viet Cong. They haven't done anything to me. They never called me a n***, as he did not want to enlist in the army. The champ was threatened with imprisonment.
With all that being said, though, shout out to everybody in the army. I appreciate everybody who's serving for this country. You feel me? I love all y'all, man. Be safe out there. You feel me?
Standing before a completely white jury, Ali was sentenced to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Since the appeal was filed immediately and the bail was paid,
I stand with Ali though for this
prison,
situation.
but was stripped of his world title and boxing license and would not have an official boxing match for 3.5 years. They stole the 3 best years of his career.
That's crazy.
When he was at his peak,
in his prime, they took away for 3 years. U.S. government, why you do my boy like that, man? Come on.
Not box, said his legendary coach, Angelo Dundee, and he was right. However, that injustice only put more wood to the fire and gave Ali another title, that of a people's champ. Returning to boxing and the fight of the century.
Crazy, bro.
Ali's case went to the Supreme Court, who ruled it unanimously in his favor, and he was eligible to return to the ring. He defeated Jerry Quarry and Oscar Bonavena in 2 largely uneventful fights, which served as an hors d'oeuvre for the main dish, which was Joe Frazier. Dubbed the fight of the century, it was the first time in history that 2 undefeated heavyweight boxing champions met in the ring. In Ali's absence, Frazier became the most dominant fighter in the world, who destroyed everybody with his quick movement and disastrous left hook. Both fighters were in their prime years. Frazier was 27 and Ali was 29. The marketing for the fight was something never seen before in the world of boxing. Ali was a master marketer, and he positioned himself as the embodiment of black discontent. And for the success of the campaign, the opponent had to become the embodiment of the problem. As Frazier was also black, Ali started calling him Uncle Tom, a derogatory name for racial traitors involved in white oppression, pushed Frazier into a vengeful psychosis from which he did not recover for the next 30 years. Ali's rhyming propaganda united the black community against Frazier, and his family received threats on a daily basis. Joe's kids were bullied at school, and at the height of preparations for the match, Frazier was guarded by the police.
Say swear to God. Say swear to God, bro, that happened. He was bro, what? Nah, the way words can have people enraged is crazy.
Apart from that, Ali was also calling him ugly, a gorilla, and generally tried to make him look bad in any way he could. On March 8, 1971, Muhammad Ali confidently stepped into the sacred Madison Square Garden, and the people's champion came for his stolen gold. Opposite of him stood the seething Joe Frazier, who was finally in the place where he could retaliate Ali's verbal abuse in the best way he knew how, with his fists. Before his suspension, Muhammad Ali was elusively fast and relied more on his athletic ability than on his fighting intelligence. He wasn't by any means slow during his first match with Frazier, but he wasn't dancing like Fred Astaire anymore. Because of his arrogance, Ali refused to adapt to the athleticism laws, which was everything Frazier needed. Slightly slower Ali, combined with Frazier's rage and unwillingness to loosen the pressure, enabled Smokin' Joe to catch Ali too many times. This fight will be remembered by precise hooks, followed by combinations to the body, and a tireless act from Frazier, who always kept on coming. Ali later said he was hit more in that fight than in his last 6 fights combined. In round 15, Frazier threw a hook that finally sent Muhammad Ali to the ground and gave him the first serious career knockdown. He was able to get up, but Frazier was a clear winner and had won the fight via unanimous decision.
Ooh-wee.
Fire in the belly and regaining the title back. The loss to Frazier pissed Ali off. It changed his approach to life and sports and put him back on the road to the title. He built himself a rugged training camp near a lake in Pennsylvania to limit himself from the modern world's distractions and luxuries. Ali was more motivated than ever, and he trained twice as hard, running every day, chopping trees, and boxing. He was ready to right the wrong. In the next 2 years, Ali fought often and had won 10 fights in a row. Then in 1973, he suffered another loss to a little-known fighter, Ken Norton, who broke Ali's jaw in the second round en route to a 12-round upset decision. Ali downplayed his opponent and didn't take him seriously. Ali was often playing in the ring and would have his hands down or just shuffle around for a few rounds, not really throwing punches. Before the Norton fight, he didn't train properly and had spent more time with women than he did with Angelo Dundee. He had a nice little cushion around his belly, weighing more than 220 pounds. I've been winning fights so easily, and a man can get intoxicated, not only with narcotics or alcohol, but a man can also get intoxicated with greatness, and that's what happened. I was so good that I started to do things I wouldn't normally do, Ali said after the loss. Another L sobered him up again, and Ali returned 6 months later with no extra weight, weighing 210 pounds, the same weight he had versus Sonny Liston. The rematch was really close, and the decision was somewhat controversial, but Ali successfully avenged the loss and defeated Norton by a split decision. After that, the time had come to avenge his first loss against Frazier, even though it wasn't for the title, because Joe lost it to George Foreman. In the second fight, again at MSG, Ali was able to secure the decision victory over Frazier in a vastly better performance than the first time they collided. After the win, he finally came to the position he so desperately craved, to fight for the world's heavyweight championship. The Rumble in the Jungle. Coming to the fight with Ali, George Foreman had amassed 40 professional victories in the same number of fights. He had won only 3 by decision, and the vast majority of his fights ended in the first 3 rounds, including dominant victories over Frazier and Norton. They had both beaten Ali, but lasted only 2 rounds with Foreman. Nobody thought Ali would stand much chance against the hardest-hitting man the world had ever seen.
Boy, he was not. Boy, he was putting hands. Boy, he was putting paws.
He was also
on people.
7 years younger than Ali and in his physical prime. Of course, Ali thought differently and trash-talked George in the build-up, creating an enormous interest in the fight. Dictator Mobutu paid $10 million for the match to be held in Kinshasa in October 1974. The fight was originally set in August, but due to Foreman's cut in sparring, it was postponed for 6 weeks, and both fighters stayed in Zaire. Ali was followed by tens of thousands of people at every step. He hugged and
Bro,
kissed.
I didn't know that, bro. Yeah, I didn't know that. Shout out to the peoples, man.
Children, women, the elderly, went everywhere without security. On the other hand, Foreman mostly frowned and was followed by his German Shepherd, which was a huge mistake. The slave owners in Zaire used such dogs, and this completely turned the local population against George, who shouted, "Ali, Bomaye," which meant, "Ali, kill him." When the fight was approaching, Ali's coaches were genuinely afraid for his life against such a terrifying puncher. The plane was ready to transfer Ali to Madrid if the injuries after the fight would be too severe. However, that would not be necessary, as Ali was able to shock the world again. Instead of dodging the blows and moving around the ring, Ali leaned on the ropes and tried to protect his head and suffered incredibly strong blows to his body. Foreman punched and punched, but Ali kept standing against the ropes. In almost insane ecstasy, he yelled at Foreman in between the punches. Only one man on the planet, amid a life-and-death struggle, can utter something as ridiculous and daunting as,
"You're right, Ali.
How you got, George?" and continue to fight. Foreman started to get incredibly tired, and then Ali shifted from his rope-a-dope defense and began fighting back. The combination of 5 blows to the head, spiced with a right hook, was enough to knock out the big George Foreman and brought all the spectators into delirium.
You know what it
Ali
is.
was the champion again. I am honored to be mentioned in the same sentence as him. He is the greatest of all time, and he outwitted me and outboxed me, George said after the match. Until his license was revoked, Ali was known as an elusive fighter. You couldn't push him into a corner. You couldn't shorten the ring against him. He always forced opponents into a counter rhythm and hit them in the head from incredible angles. Upon his return, Ali stunned the world, and even his coaches, with his ability to withstand blows from the baddest hitters on the planet, Foreman and Frazier. Thrilla in Manila. After he won the belt, he defended it 3 times in 1975, after which he squared off against Frazier for the 3rd time. The score was tied between the two, and the hatred was still there. Both men wanted the trilogy. Thrilla in Manila will be remembered for inhumane conditions of 40 degrees Celsius and humidity that knocked out people in the stands. That fight showed what human will and determination could do. Frazier was filled with hatred for Ali and determined to finally show he was better. Ali was far from the ideal shape, with an obvious excess weight, but with self-confidence that nobody else had. Each round was a total war. They say the styles make up every good boxing match, and these two styles were perfectly appealing. Frazier hit Ali in the head like no one, precisely, seemingly every time, and Ali countered with uppercuts that closed both of Frazier's eyes. In the 12th round, Frazier could hardly see anything, and his face looked like porridge. The man fought almost completely blind, but didn't want to give up. However, before the start of the 15th round, Frazier's coach, Eddie Futch, physically prevented his fighter from going out on the gong. "I couldn't let him die in my arms. I just couldn't. This is the closest to dying I've ever felt in my life," Muhammad said after the match.
Why was they going 15 rounds? But what was they doing?
Him with punches that would knock down a wall, and he stayed on his feet. "God is my witness. He's a great champion," Frazier said in the locker room. Final career years, making history with 3rd title. Ali said that it was too painful and that he might get a heart attack how exhausted he was, and that he wants to retire while he was still on top. And that's exactly what he should have done. However, he was the champ, and at the height of his fame and earning power. By that time, he was boxing mainly for financial reasons. He didn't need the money himself, but he was donating up to 80% of the fight purses to those in need. After Frazier, he gained more weight and was getting up in age, but he was skilled enough to notch a few more victories. The chatter about him hanging up the gloves was louder and louder, and Ali kept saying he'll retire, but then he would change his mind and strap the gloves back on again. But if you fight long enough, you will lose, no matter how great you are. For Ali, it happened in the form of Leon Spinks, who gave Ali his 3rd career loss in 1978.
Spinks.
Every defeat gave Ali extra motivation, and he wanted to prove that he is still not done yet and regain the title in a rematch. He did just that and became the first man to win the heavyweight championship on 3 separate occasions.
Dang.
After the fight, he retired and relinquished his titles, but then unretired 2 years later, fighting his old sparring partner Larry Holmes, and then Trevor Berbick in 1981. He lost both fights, and didn't resemble the man who he was before. Early signs of Parkinson's were already there, and his movement, speech, and coordination were already impaired. Legacy. After his boxing career was finally over, Ali still continued to fight. He was fighting for peace, tolerance, and equality. Ali was a dancer and a poet who just happened to punch people for a living. And while his punches and shuffle brought victories, and his trash-talking rhymes brought him fame, his most important fights were for justice. And his best words were when he was talking about race and inequality that black people have to go through. Yes, Ali enjoyed the bright lights, the women, money, and everything that comes with it. But he never forgot where he came from, and he always fought for the people. That's why he was the
fought for the people.
And despite his illness, Ali didn't hate boxing for what it did to him. He loved it for what it had done for him. He was the most charismatic boxer ever, and combined with his success in the ring and social activism, we consider him the greatest athlete of all time.
He's the GOAT to me, nigga. I don't care what nobody say he's the GOAT to me. He is him. Mike Tyson, Mayweather. Ooh, it gets tough after that, man. Y'all gotta let me know in the comments who y'all top 5 fighters of all time. I can't say much. Y'all might get on my head. But look, like, comment, subscribe. Y'all want to see more boxing, more Muhammad Ali, let me know in the comments. And I got y'all. Y'all already know what's going on, man. No, babbity bab.